This is a presentation of National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasters, 70 weekly shows, and a 3.4-star rating on Roku TV.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, guys, any...
Well, it's Wednesday, guys. We made it halfway through the week, and this is the National Professional Streaming Sports Show. And I put professional in there because we have a professional panel. We do. We have Sonia Pearson from Prim and Proper Sports. We got Captain Jack from Rack'em Sock'em Robot Show over there, and the voice of the Raiders. I like to say he's just the voice of the Raiders. And we also got J-Train. That's what he calls himself. I call him James. Friday Night Guys show, right? Something like that. Tell me that.
Friday with the fellas.
You're going to get it right one of these days.
Well, I keep practicing, and, eventually I get in there. And look who came in early. This must be a day of miracles. We have Keith Anglin with us right off the rip.
Holy shnikes! He's only 2 minutes late. And that's early.
That's early for
yeah.
Welcome in, Keith. Glad to have you. Keith from TGI.
Really late, but
Yes. He likes to be the last guy coming into the room. He thinks everybody's paying attention, but by then we're already drinking and we don't even notice him. But anyway,
yeah, I've noticed. This.
Hey, belly up to the bar, bastard. There you go.
All right. So, guys, I want to start off with the NFL tonight. There's a lot of stories, especially the training camp, people not coming in, holding out, and really not the the make-believe stories like, training camp, this guy looks good. These are actual stories that may affect teams. The first one I want to take a look at with you guys is CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb with the Dallas Cowboys is holding out. He wants his payday. This is his last year as a Cowboy. And he, of course, in my opinion, I don't know if you guys all agree with this, I think he's one of the top 5 wide receivers in the league. I think he's that good. If the Cowboys can't sign him, I don't know who Dak Prescott, which is another case altogether, is going to throw to, because there's really no number two wide receiver on the Dallas Cowboys. What do you guys think? What is CeeDee Lamb worth to the Cowboys? And they have to sign him, right? What do you think, Sonia?
So, first of all, I'm absolutely shocked that they have not signed CeeDee Lamb yet. This is insane. You're talking about right down to the wire. This is how players get traded and moved around at the last minute or demand to be traded, like Brandon Ayuk. And so the fact that we are seeing every week, in my opinion, a competition of trades, like you get a trade, I get a trade, but it's who's got the highest salary. I think that's the issue that's going on right now as to why CeeDee is not signed, because look at everyone else in the league who are getting all these millions of dollars for a contract. He's going to want to be paid even more than the last guy because of his demand for Dallas.
Yeah, it's a good point. James, Keith, Captain, I mean, is he worth Justin Jefferson money, or maybe a little under? Is he worth more to the Cowboys than Justin Jefferson is worth to the Vikings? What do you guys think?
He's worth Justin Jefferson money to the Cowboys, yes. Maybe not elsewhere, but to the Cowboys he is, because I don't see this team replacing his production or even close to it. If they don't bring him back, he's got the leverage here in my mind over the Cowboys in this situation.
Yeah. Other than the Cowboys can go and sign Michael Gallup again because he retired. Yeah, I caught that little bit of news. I was like, it's like, hey, and by the way, I really wish he wouldn't have retired, but he is available in a pinch. But so is Hunter Renfroe because he's retired. He just hasn't put paperwork in. But anyway, yeah, to the Cowboys, he basically has old boy Jones over there he's going to put him up on the roaster on the spit, and he's got him over a fire. Now, that's a fire in Dallas, and his CeeDee Lamb is not the lamb chop on the fire. It's Jared Jones.
Very, very good country accent on that, Captain. I'm proud of you. James, what do you think? What are your thoughts about CeeDee Lamb?
First of all, to me, he's considered to be top 3. Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb. You can interchange a couple. I would say Justin Jefferson, what he means to the Minnesota Vikings brings up the amount of money that he's paid, but I guess it's sort of semantics. To me, he's going to get paid either equal to or greater than Justin Jefferson. He's worth it. There's, like Keith said, there's leverage. He has the leverage because there's nobody else there. And you're not, to me, if I'm the Cowboys, I make Dak, I'll pay him later. I pay him after I pay CeeDee Lamb, and I don't pay the linebacker Michael Parsons until next year. I just go ahead and put him on the 5th-year rookie option. It's just the guy's just worth the money, man. It's just nobody else there, and he plays. I mean, he was double covered, triple covered, and he still got the numbers. So you need him. Dak, if Dak's coming back, but Dak's not going to have anybody to throw to other than him. And I don't know about their tight end situation, but it's really, like Sonia said, there's just really no other option there. So you got to pay the man, and he's probably going to get paid either equal to or greater than the amount of money that Justin Jefferson's getting paid.
Speaking of people that are going to want to get paid and having a team over the barrel, Jordan Love is not going to practice. He's in camp, but he's not going to take the field until he gets his contract. Right now, the Packers have no backup plan, and Jordan Love, though he did have a good second half of the year, in the first half was not so good. He was very inconsistent. He had his little run. Quarterbacks have good runs. Even bad quarterbacks put in a position can have a good run, 5-6 games. Jordan Love had that. So his agent's talking. He wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the league. Keith, $60 million he wants. What options does Green Bay have?
They can let them sit. They're not going to win. This is a problem when the players, things have gotten so out of whack. And anytime the owners try to bring things back into some kind of semblance of balance, that we're going to get collusion charges and everything else. So it's impossible. Once the players get the leverage, they're never going to give it up. And when teams like the Browns go out and sign Deshaun Watson to crazy contracts, this has been what we've been leading up to, is the contracts that you're seeing go out now. I said a lot long ago, what is it going to take to sign some of these guys? Dak Prescott's going to get $60 million from somebody after this year as well. So Jordan Love is in a great position here right now. Whether he deserves to get that at this point, I always say you're worth what somebody's willing to pay you. But I wouldn't want to be paying this guy at this point because I've seen a very small window of results here, and they've been good. Don't get me wrong. He looks like he's going to have a great career. A lot of guys have looked like they were going to have a great career after 10 games, right? But it's a tough spot for the Packers. It's either this or you're starting all over. What are you going to do? You're going to have to pay him.
So with all these rising salaries, I don't think Trevor Lawrence should have got that amount of money. I think he's also hasn't proven that he is one of the top quarterbacks in the league. But Sonia, is there a way to get around this? What can GMs do and owners do to prevent this from happening? Is there a way around this?
They talked about implementing what the NBA has in place, which is a salary cap limit that is actually enforced to wrangle in these owners, these GMs, what have you, whoever's in control of the money for these individual teams. I'm a bit perplexed, to be honest with you, because when we started the beginning of the offseason, everyone was advised that there was like a 30% over the salary cap of each team. So I'm trying to figure out where this money came in all of a sudden. I don't know if Roger Goodell, has connections with the U.S. Mint and they're printing out money or something. But I mean, literally to be told that everyone's over the salary cap, I think it was like 33% as a whole. And then to see the monopolizing of these contracts is literally every week we're like, oh, I'm gonna get $1 more than you type stuff. Every time we come on here, someone's gotten $1 at least more than the last person, and it's a competition. It's not even enjoyable anymore to watch, to see if someone's legit being paid what they are worth. Like Trevor Lawrence, come on. I mean, he's a Targaryen for one. Shout out to Game of Thrones and House of Dragons. Number two, he has not won anything. Jacksonville has been on the struggle bus for quite a while. Why are you making him the highest paid? So, of course, now you're going to look at Jordan Love, who, got into the playoffs, stumbled in there, what have you. No one saw Green Bay coming. All they did was got in there and eliminated Dallas, and then back to the bench they go. And then you see other people, but you don't see, high caliber quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes demanding more money. And he's, going for the three-peat. These guys are greedy. They're not appreciative of what they've gotten. And it's not becoming a competition of stats, but a competition of bank accounts.
Captain, I'm going to save you for last on this. James, there's another quarterback that has a better resume, maybe more of a body of work than Jordan Love, but the same result. Tua Tagovailoa.
Good time.
Thank you.
Tagovailoa.
Yes, thank you. He's still. I mean, you could take one guy and replace him on the other side, except Tua had better stats last year, maybe with a better offensive coordinator. But Tua's due up for a contract too now. So if Jordan Love is willing to sit out practice, say Tua does or doesn't. Does Miami pay him to Joe Burrow's money?
Well, they're already giving him the cold shoulder. So, I mean, he was supposed to get his contract a while back, and obviously there are some considerations here. We're talking about the guy is very injury prone. He had some serious concussions. He had the best yards, the most yards in the NFL last season, and he probably should be paid as the way other quarterbacks are being paid. I mean, we're looking, as Sonia alluded to, Trevor Lawrence getting paid the amount of money he's gotten paid, $275, the same amount as Joe Burrow, and those guys are in two different stratospheres when healthy, mind you. Joe Burrow has had some considerable injuries there, but he's still, when he's healthy, he's worth that money. Whether or not Tua's going to get his money, he lost his weight. He's trimmed down. I think he's trying to do everything right to show that he's deserving of the paycheck. I think he should be paid. I mean, again, as these other guys are getting paid, I think he should get the money that he deserves. But going back to Jordan Love, he kind of falls in that same stratosphere. He was top 10 in everything last year. Even though he didn't play well in the beginning of the season, he turned it on. And if you look at the guys, I'm looking at Jordan Love versus Tua. Tua has an immense amount of weapons around him that guys you can name. You guys can't name anybody on Jordan Love's team that he played with, yet he still was in top 10 in everything, every category. And so, I mean, he has a good argument about being paid.
And he's had some postseason success, which Tua has had none.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, I would say Jordan Love has a great argument, and he probably should be paid. And he has leverage. Let's just put it that way. He has leverage because they have nothing else. Aaron Rodgers is out the door.
James is ready to pay everybody. I'm glad he's not my GM. He's going to give everybody what they want. Captain, I've got an idea. Jack told me I was nuts. I was living in fantasy land. This is my idea. Every 2 years, I draft, as a team, I draft the best quarterback available in my first pick. And when these guys get good, like a Jordan Love or a Tua or a Trevor Lawrence, I say, hey, listen, I ain't paying you that, but I got a quarterback that's been here for 2 years and it looks pretty good. And if you want to move along and make $100 million a year, I'm all for it. Meanwhile, I build my team. I build up my offensive line. I build up my defensive line, so on and so on. But I'm going to get a good quarterback every 2 years. That's how I fight something like that. Is that crazy?
No, it's not. But I wouldn't put my first pick on it. But I would try to stockpile as a smart GM. I would try to stockpile an extra second round pick each year, and then every other year you use that extra pick in the second round.
I like that.
Get BPA, or in this case BPQB, and then you use them for that. That's your luxury pick of stockpiling that second pick. You know, I'm going to say that. Oh my! I'm throwing up already. The New England Patriots used to do that by stockpiling all of these picks and all these picks and all these. It was actually smart. Okay, and the one thing is that it, like I said, you take that second pick that you got in the second round, and you got that leverage, and then you don't have to tell the schmuck, okay, pound rocks, pound sand, and pound other things that I'm not allowed to say on this show, and just get out of here. But going back to as far as leverage, I'd like to see what the yak is on the receivers that Love was throwing to and the receivers that Tua is throwing to, because most of Miami's plays are like quick hitches, and they let Waddell and Cheetah run for like 60, 70 yards. Yeah, it all counts as it's like a 60, 70-yard bomb, but it's really like a 12-yard hitch that these guys take to the end zone, okay? And Tua is definitely not worth that money. I think the Dolphins picked up Mike White or somebody that the Jets, you know, they have a decent backup, okay? So they at least have some leverage. Packers ain't got crap, and they're going to have to pay the guy. But actually, having seen Jordan Love play last year and having seen Tua play last year, even though Jordan Love lost in Vegas, he played a hell of a lot of a better game than what Tua did, even though Tua won undeservingly in Miami.
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, Miami beat you, and the Packers, you beat the Packers.
That is
right.
true.
Okay, all right.
No. Miami won, but we did beat the Packers.
All right. Okay, there you go. There you go.
Mac, real quick to your point that you were making about continuing to draft quarterbacks. The Ravens, just as recently as a couple of years ago, were talking about that very scenario before they signed Lamar Jackson. They were talking about having quarterbacks matriculate, was the word they used, through their system and let them go, and then develop another guy right behind them to take his place. And I think you may see some of that going forward. And what will happen is the players will sue the NFL for collusion, and we'll have all kinds of problems there. But I think it's a worthy idea.
Hey, good to see Hank Stram joined our show.
Yes,
this year too. Good to see that. Great catch, Keith.
So the last one I want to talk about is the Jets' problem with Hassan Reddick over there, who came out and said, well, he really didn't want to be traded to the Jets from the Eagles. He just wanted to work out a contract with the Eagles or with an upcoming team. He hasn't reported. He's going to be fined $50,000 every day he misses training camp, and he doesn't want to make $12 million a year. He wants to make between $25 and $28 million a year. Well, there you go. So, I think the Jets have a little. They have a little get back here, right? They got a great defense. Reddick may make them a little bit better. He may he may help out in the sacks at outside linebacker. But the Jets have one of the better defenses in the league, so I think they got a little swagger here going up against Reddick. We'll see what Reddick ends up doing. I would tell him if he doesn't want to play.
Somebody that can help you out the sack.
Yes, There really much there is, Captain. Thanks for bringing
Come
that.
on, man.
That's
They are beautiful, and they're clean, and they're clean.
Yes, that's very true. Let's talk a little bit about the Olympic basketball team. LeBron James bails out Team USA. The oldest guy on the team hits the last 11 points to beat Germany. And you have a player on that team that is doing everything in his power to disrupt any kind of chemistry, which there hardly is any on that team, named Joel Embiid, who, kind of said LeBron isn't what he used to be. And now he's talking, making comments about Jason Tatum, saying if I had a super team and I went 5 for 15, we would get killed. So Celtics have a super team. Tatum goes 0 for 2. The Celtics are up by 6 points. That must be nice. Listen, Captain, I know you're a Philadelphia fan, and I think Joel Embiid is probably the most pompous ass guy in the NBA today. He really is.
Yeah, you're right. And yes, I am a Philly guy, but I really don't claim the Sixers as my basketball team. I know that that's strange because you know how I feel about my Flyers and Phillies, but having that bad taste in my mouth from 72 and Gene Shue and all those other guys, aside from rooting for Moses, in the faux, which was actually faux 5-0 for history purposes, in that championship, I can give a flying foxtrot what the Sixers do, because since they've had the process, and part of that process was Joel Embiid, who basically his process is to bilk money out of the Sixers owners and the people that go watch him to watch him fail. So he can, again, pound rocks, pound sand, and pound other things because he's worthless in my mind. His pedigree and his resume is a little bit over a blank sheet of paper. Very, very fine athlete who has not done anything to support the money he's being paid. That's his resume. And for him to say that, and I despise LeBron James. I do. I can't stand LeBron James, but I got to give it to him in the fact that he does stuff. His resume is so much that he doesn't need to bring it. It's out there. People know it. For him to say crap about LeBron, I'm like, dude, just shut the up, and hopefully you'll get a medal if everybody else plays. So shut up. You have nothing to say.
James, I think Anthony Davis, from what I heard, is beating him out as a starting center. He's playing better than he is. Joe, listen, Embiid's a physical presence under the basket. So is Davis. Davis is more, I think, a team player. He don't talk a lot of trash. He just goes out and plays the game and plays really well. Could that be it? Could it be the frustration of Davis showing him up during the Olympic Games?
That's part of it. I think the other thing is just that he's just got sour grapes, man. I mean, he's injury prone. He's always been injury prone, and he's never really lived up to the billing. I mean, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, mind you. When he's on and he's healthy, he can play. But man, the injuries have really did him in, and he's just. And for one, they did waivers and everything to get him onto this team because he should have been on maybe in Paris or France. He should have been on that team. I mean, especially if he's going to talk trash, man, he really should just be quiet. I'm with Captain. Don't say nothing, man. I mean, you're going to win gold. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to win gold or not. I'm not sold on this team. I agree with what he said about them being old, but I'm not on the team. I can say that out here. He should be quiet and not cause dissension, as Pag said on the show last Sunday. This might cause dissension because you're supposed to build chemistry and try to win gold. Everybody should be on the same page, even if you don't like each other, even if you're rivals or whatever it may be. You're supposed to have respect enough to say we all live in this country. We all have one goal. We all want to win the gold. And he should just be quiet. He just really should shut up. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think it's going to continue to be a problem as well.
I don't think so either. Sonia, and then I'll go to Keith because I want to start Keith off on an MLB thing. Sonia, Kevin Durant is hurt. He got hurt in the beginning. He has a bad calf. Why did they not go from their pool of their roster, send Kevin Durant home to take care of his leg? Because I don't think he's going to play. I'll be honest with you. I think he's going to be sitting on the bench for most of this Olympics. Why did they go and get Jaylen Brown? Why did they get Jalen Brunson? Why did they get another player that would add a younger player that would add juice? Does it have anything to do with Stephen Kerr being his coach at Golden State, or is it just, are we scared to tell these legends in basketball, which Kevin Durant is, I would say, a legend? Are we scared to tell them, hey, listen, you shouldn't be here. You're hurt. You're not going to play.
I think it's probably the latter. Like, people have literally made these guys their gods to the point that they're afraid to confront them. Like, it's a legit reason to be physically incapable to play. And because their personalities are so big on the court, they kind of just, for lack of a better word, diminish anyone else besides them, including the coach and the GM or what have you. Including today, as of like 2 hours ago, they're saying that Kevin Durant looks good at practice and that it's still on the table that he's going to play against Serbia on Sunday. So they don't want to, I don't know if they're saying it's too early to tell based on the severity of his injury. But I think at the end of the day, it's exactly what you said. They don't want to confront these players and say, hey, you need to go home because you're not well enough to play. And it's baffling that they wouldn't pick, I always call him Super Grover because he just reminds me of Super. It's baffling to think they wouldn't pick a more talented player that could definitely get the job done, make, a better appearance and make the USA more likely to win, to represent our country. And, God willing, there would be other years that, Kevin Durant may be able to play, or maybe they're thinking, hey, he's on his Cinderella story. We're about to, give him a glass slipper and it's going to strike midnight at any time. And here you go. So, I think some of these players that's been in the league for so long, the writing's on the wall. Injuries tend to make players age quicker than the calendar date. And so I think that's what we're looking at here with Kevin Durant.
Keith, before I go to MLB, is Steve Kerr the right coach for this team?
Yes, as I said earlier, I mean, Steve Kerr's coached. He's got, I keep getting the number wrong, three NBA championships or four. I can't remember which it is. He's coached big egos before, which you're going to have to do here. I think he's really good at making adjustments. And maybe these two, we talk about the Germany game, but the game before that, 3 days before that, they barely got by South Sudan, who I don't think you could name a player who ever played for the South Sudan, by one. And LeBron saved them that day too. So I do think Steve Kerr's the right guy here for this team. He's even keeled, and he's not going to get too excited, and like some other coaches might in this situation. But you can't. We're past the days where you can just roll a ball out and you're going to win a gold medal. I mean, they lost in 2020. They won the gold. They lost a game, and you only have to go back a few Olympics to where they won a bronze. We should be winning.
Listen, Keith, I want Chuck Daly. That's what I want. Anyway.
I told you, raise the ashes of Bobby Knight.
We need
give me Krzyzewski and Bobby Knight in a tandem, baby. In a tandem.
You might be right. Keith, MLB, I want to understand this. What is this slow trot after a home run nonsense? Right? I mean, it's bad enough that they flip bats now. They stand there and they watch their home run going like they've never seen a home run hit in their life. Now, if one guy runs around the bases in 30 seconds, the other one has to make it 32 seconds on the other team to show him up. What are we back in grammar school now? Is this what MLB is now?
Yeah, it was very childish the other night in the Yankees and Rays game where we had a show off, I guess we'll call that. I think Rosarina, who's been doing this kind of nonsense his entire career. And Soto, I swear to God, that he had to set a record for the slowest trot around home plate. They had a timer on him, and I swear it went to like 45 seconds from the time he hit the ball to the time he crossed home plate. And it's ridiculous. And Maybe that's, again, I'm not for Major League Baseball putting more silly rules in, but let's eliminate home run trots if you want to speed the game up.
There you go. There you go. Hey, listen, I'm going to keep putting this. People out there, if you want to say great show, your comment will stay out there the longest. I guarantee you. Thank you, Darcy. Thank you, Chris, for joining us. I mean, Yoel, thank you for coming in. We love you. But if you put comments like that, I'll keep you up there all show.
Matt, so I have some breaking news.
Go right ahead. Give me breaking news.
So just to pivot back to the NBA real quick, TNT lost their copyright rights starting with the 25-26 season of NBA on TNT is no more. They signed an 11-year deal with Amazon, Disney, and all those folks for the next 11 years through 2034. So you know how we always talk about streaming rights and all that stuff? Here we go. They're going to be on TNT for the finale this season. And then started in 25-26, they've linked up with Disney and Amazon for like 77 point some odd dollars.
Ridiculous dollars. Yeah, $77 to say the least. I agree.
77, like I want to say billion or million. Hold on, I'll tell you.
It's billion over 11 years. I saw it.
It's 76 billion, 6.9 billion per season. It's going to start with the 25-26 season and run through 25-36 season. Oh my God!
Won't hurt my feelings at all. I don't watch basketball.
This is looking like a done deal. This is looking like a done deal for 3 months because the TNT pregame guys, they all said goodbye basically when
yes.
Were over. And TNT the last few days talked about getting in and trying to match this, which I don't know how they were ever going to do. I mean, when you got this triumvirate, you're never going to beat them money wise with just TNT's money.
Yeah, the verdict was 2 hours ago, so they just issued it.
Yeah.
Speaking of money, and I didn't cover this, and you brought it to my attention. I almost forgot about it. Captain Jack, me, you, and Keith have been around forever, right? I mean, we were here before all this other stuff came together.
Yeah, JC, and people y'all know who JC is. JC was a screaming seaman on the deck of the Ark,
right?
Back then, okay.
Right, I agree, Captain.
And
so,
we were there. I was still the chief there. There you go.
What, Keith and Captain? What is going to be different about this year's Olympics? It's kind of it's not a trivia question, but what is the biggest difference between this Olympics and the past Olympics?
Is there an actual answer to this question that I need to find?
Yes, there is.
I mean, I know there's a couple of stories. Germany's got their first black flag carrier and things like that.
I was going to mention Germany. As long as Germany doesn't go through the Arc de Triomphe again to piss off a bunch of Frenchies, and I was fine. I said Frenchies instead of frogs. I have no clue, so it's a good trivia question. I'm waiting for
the first. Do you got it, Sonia? You think
I was gonna tell Captain Jack, don't bash Germans. My mom is German, I got German. Be careful, Captain Jack.
Hey, I got a quarter German in me too. I got half Russian, quarter German, quarter Irish. As
Russian,
far as ancestry,
that explains the Russian explains so much right now.
We get it.
So back to the question. Legalize gambling across the United States.
Oh, okay.
This will be
question. I'm sorry.
The NBA and NFL, of course, are not playing. So where is all that money people are itching to gamble with going? It's going to go to the Olympics. They're expecting an unbelievable increase in that. And it's, of course, basketball, soccer, tennis. Can you imagine if something like that happens with an Olympic team that's happened over here in the NFL or the NBA, and somebody throws a game?
Somebody shave, baby.
Well, the 2034 Olympics will be back in the United States. Salt Lake City just got named the location of the next Olympics. So if the money gets recycled, it's not necessarily going overseas this next Olympics. it'll be coming right back to the U.S. So
we're not saying it's going overseas. It's going to be bet here in the United States. Though.
Yeah,
The
it
bets
ain't
are going
going
to be here
over
in the
there.
United States. They're not going to bet over in Paris. They're going to bet here this year.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
I'm
the only
saying
thing
is,
they're getting
what
a
I'm
lot of
saying,
praise.
right? And of course, you imagine somebody could figure out the time zones and make bets before it hits here, right? I mean, you're going to have it's going to be played over. I mean, the Keith,
Sure, they
people
have safe cards. That can't happen. I'm
people,
sure they have.
people are smart, Keith. I'm telling you, they just hacked the airlines and lost all their airline across the country. People are smart.
I'm pretty sure they can figure out time zones and not let people post past.
Pass post. Yeah. Hey, so Keith watched the Sting. He knows exactly what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
And great movie. One of my favorites as well.
One of the best ever.
There you go. Right just for you, Keith. Right, you got to look, buddy.
Thank you.
So I'm just saying, there's possibilities that somebody might not win 6-1. They might win 6-1. I mean,
what about this though? Think about on the same kind of track you're talking about. We always see disqualifications because of drug doping and whatever else in track and field.
Right.
So what happens when I bet the 100 meters and my guy finishes second or third and I don't get paid, but 3 weeks later the guy gets taken down because he tests positive for steroids? I guarantee I'm not getting my money back. So
right.
there's
Keith, I will give you your $5 bet. I give you your $5. Don't worry about it. Right? Anyway.
By the way, you won't be making any wagers on Olympic events. I can guarantee you right now.
And speaking of MLB, and again, here comes me, Captain. Maybe James might have been alive for this. Maybe Sonia. Back on this day in history, George Brett gets his 1,000th hit. Now, George Brett goes on to be one of the greatest hitters in baseball, top 20, 3,000 hits. But he's always remembered. The video you see on baseball.
Yes, the pine tar incident, baby.
What year was this?
If you haven't seen
What
it,
year?
it's called the pine tar incident. Just look up George Brett pine tar incident.
I've seen it
Billy Martin challenged the pine tar can only be so high on a bat. Billy Martin actually had them go out and measure the bat for the pine tar, and they took away his home run. George Brett goes crazy. The bat mysteriously disappears. It goes in the dugout. They run it out into the hallway. You have never, ever heard of or seen that bat again because it probably was against the rules. George Brett goes crazy. There's almost a fight with the umpire. I mean, this is one of the iconic videos of all time.
Yeah, it was.
James and I were 8 years old. James and I were 8.
Saw it. I mean,
George Brett played before he ever watched that video. He thought he was very calm when he went out there. Believe that.
You could actually see
it does not look calm to me.
The anger build. Anger was building in him when he ran out there. I mean, you could see he was going to flip.
It was like a raging lunatic. That picture.
Yes, he was.
I can tell you that game live. And speaking of wagering, I did some wagering back in the 80s, and I had bet that game. I bet the Yankees that game, by the way, and won money. And I did not have to pay my money back after they reversed the call.
Hey, happy birthday, Barry Bonds.
Yes, Barry Bonds with his birthday. There you go. Happy birthday.
Wow.
Then don't I deserve credit for last week bringing up George's brother, Ken?
You do.
The profanity was kind of overshadowed that, and the vulgar.
I did not say anything profane. I said the things that were borderline really nasty.
You used the word that starts with an F that relates to some type of act on someone that was very offensive, Captain Jack.
But it was not a swear word.
I chuckled to myself during the week. I thought about that.
I was like,
so to finish up with George Brett, he 3-time Silver Slugger, 3-time batting champion, Hall of Famer, great third baseman, a little better offensively than defensively for sure. And they finally got over the hump and did win the World Series because the Yankees, some dramatic wins in those championship games, mainly by Chris Chambliss, who was probably the most underrated first baseman in Yankee history.
I was just going to say underrated. Great player.
Tell you what, if it was just for George Brett, he owned the Yankees during all those playoffs.
No doubt.
Series.
No doubt. No doubt.
Goose Gossage for sure.
Yes.
And
I want to
thank the Cleveland Indians for getting rid of Chris Chambliss for the Yankees to pick him up.
Very good point. Very, very good point. So let's talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame. I don't hear a lot of people talking about the Hall of Fame inductees. There's always question marks when you get some of these inductees in. The first one we're going to talk about is Andre Beltre. I think he's a no-brainer. Third baseman, 3,000 hits, power, 477 home runs, 663 doubles, Golden Gloves, batting average 286. This guy was not, hardly talked about. This guy was an under-the-radar superstar in Texas. Of course, Texas wasn't one of the greatest teams, but this guy should have got a lot more pub than he did. This guy, first ballot Hall of Fame, easy, no doubt, one of the greatest players in baseball history. I would say that by him. It's a no-brainer. Then we move down to Todd Helton, Colorado Rockies. Good offensively, 2,519 hits, 368 home runs, 1,406 RBIs. But
he played in Colorado, and he's a better quarterback for the UT Vols.
He was. And that ball travels out of Colorado. I can imagine some of the great home run hitters playing in Colorado. They probably would have 900 home runs for their career. The point is, Todd Helton, decent, good first baseman, very good player, borderline for me. What do you guys think? Todd Helton, Hall of Famer or not?
Out.
No,
I would think the Hall of Very Good because. And here's my point, and I very rarely stump for people that I think are still out. If Fred McGriff isn't in the Hall of Fame, and I know he deserves it. If McGriff isn't in the Hall of Fame, and if Dale Murphy isn't in the Hall of Fame, then why the Foxtrot is Todd Helton in the Hall of Fame over them? I'm just going to leave it at that.
Chris agrees with you. Chris agrees with you. The third person, one of the best, maybe one. Well, this guy did something no other catcher did. All right, he ended up winning the batting title 3 years, and no other catcher has ever done that in baseball history. But 9 years he was a catcher, and he ended up getting it's Joe Mauer. Mauer.
Oh,
Mauer. Yeah. Went to first base because, he was injured. He had a great 9 years, but that's really it.
Hall of Fame, three batting titles, a bunch of Gold Gloves. He's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Position, catcher, because of his position, for sure.
Because of his position.
I would say I don't know how the criteria goes in baseball, but when I look at other Hall of Fame aspects, we're talking about players. We're talking about people like Gale Sayers, Terrell Davis in the NFL, had very short tenures, but they had great impacts and they had during their time in, and so they were allowed to get in.
Yeah.
Then
a person like this, you're saying nine seasons, and he had all those accolades. Why not get him in the Hall of Fame?
So let me bring in the Don Mattingly argument then. One of the best Major League Baseball players for 8-9 years, not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I think he should be.
Look at his numbers compared to Kirby Puckett, who's in the Hall of Fame, and they're about identical. And I would say Mattingly's better in a couple of categories, especially defensively. The whole Hernandez Mattingly argument in New York is a great one. But to me, Mattingly stands above a lot of guys who are in the Hall of Fame. And it's about dominating over a period of time. He was the best player in baseball for several years of that 10-year run you're talking about, Mac, and he definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, and can I slide in a Bo Jackson reference right now as well? If you're talking a short period of time, great plays, great impact, not in the Hall of Fame.
Not in the Hall of Fame. He shouldn't be.
I know, but see, here's the thing, though. When you talk about impact, talk about somebody that was an all-star, all-pro at both for a short period of time. Now, granted, the injuries got him. And I hate saying project, but, man, I tell you, there should be a something there.
If there's a sports Hall of Fame, he should be in the sports Hall of Fame because he's probably the greatest athlete in the history of this.
To go both to play in sports. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Last one is Jim Leland. Won a World Series with the Florida Marlins.
Both leagues.
One with the Florida Marlins. That's it.
One World Series.
Didn't he win? Didn't he win with the Tigers? And
They went twice to win, right?
okay, apologies, but hey, he brought the Tigers there. He brought the Pirates there.
3 times manager of the year.
Yeah.
Winning percentage 524.
I think it's worse than that. I think it's 5-0. I think it's 5-0 something, isn't it, Mac?
I from what I got, Keith, it's 524.
I think either way.
We're talking regular season now, Keith. Regular season.
Yeah, and maybe
season.
that differences. I'm not sure. It could be that. I don't want to take anything away from Jim Leland. He's a great manager. Great manager. Turned up Pittsburgh around. Didn't get to a World Series, but turned them around. But if Jim Leland's in, how's Lou Piniella not considered a Hall of Famer? He's got 1 title. He's got more wins than Jim Leland. His higher winning percentage. Billy Martin turned a bunch of teams around. He's got 1 World Series, better winning percentage. Tom Kelly for the Twins has got 2 World Series champions. His winning percentage is under 500, but he won in a place that's not easy to win.
Yeah,
sure. And there's Danny Murtaugh's not in the Hall of Fame. Hard to believe.
Right.
Ralph Houck isn't in the Hall of Fame. Ralph Houck won 2 World Championships with the Yankees and had them in. He was a manager for a long time with the Yankees and won more games than Jim Leland. Just a couple of names that I had jotted down during another discussion about this topic. Again, I don't want to take anything away from Jim Leland. I think he likely deserves his Hall of Fame nomination, but so do these guys.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, Keith, I think they go more modern, or they go with. Let me put it this way: Jim Leland was a nice guy.
Who won though? Who won? With Pittsburgh, with Detroit.
Listen,
yeah,
but he 524 is not. He lost a lot of seasons too, Captain Jack. He had some bad seasons.
Look at his longevity there. Like I said, Leland, in my estimation, was kind of like Casey Stengel, who was like manager forever.
No, you can't compare him to Casey.
Well, okay, but as far as longevity, okay, he was in the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, right?
So was Buck Showalter.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Leland, because he had not all the panache, that was his panache, was that he was understated, was that people respected him around the league and that they played for him, okay? Buck Showalter can be a real pompous ass, and a lot of people, he was like a Harbaugh. In this Harbaugh's case is the one that's currently closing for the Charger. He's got a short shelf life. He can get a team up for X amount of years, and then they turn and rebel against him. And that's a Buck Showalter thing. They don't play for him for a long time.
I'm a big Buck fan. I think Leland's better.
I think Leland's better too. I don't think he's better.
I think Leland's. I
don't think he's better than Billy Martin.
But Billy Martin also had his playing career and managing that
I'm just talking manager. Yeah, he's not better than Billy Martin managing. Billy Martin's been to the World Series twice, won a World Series. He also brought teams to the playoffs or near the playoffs that were terrible years before. Maybe the best on-field manager in baseball history, to be honest with you.
I think Billy Martin got in because he had to put up with Reggie Jackson.
Well, he isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Billy's not in the Hall of Fame.
Billy. Apologies. I thought Billy was in the Hall of Fame.
No.
Billy as that fiery runt of the spark plug that was the 60s, 50s, 60s Yankees, and the way he played, as well as managing for all those years in Texas, in Oakland, especially in New York. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I'm surprised that the old-time writers haven't put him in yet. But they also hold the grudge because Billy and the writers did not get along. That's why there should be people like me.
Absolutely.
And Keith that know stuff that should be voting on that.
And if anybody at home wants to see what Billy Martin was like as a manager, they have clips of him going off, and there was next to Earl Weaver, Billy Martin was crazy with the umpires. If you want to see some base throwing, bumping, going, yelling in faces, check out Billy Martin on YouTube as well as Earl Weaver.
Earl Weaver, man.
Can we just give a shout out to Eli De La Cruz of the Cincinnati Reds? He's been in the league. I read this earlier today. Unfortunately, the Braves lost to the Reds today. They played here in Atlanta around noon.
Good.
9-4, I think was the final score. But anyway, Eli De La Cruz has only been in the league like a little bit over 13 months, and he has made history since 1900 to be the only player in less than 200 games to have like triple doubles. Like he has 36 home runs, 14 triples, 88 RBIs, 84 stolen bases, 83 walks, and a 4.3 WAR across only 198 games. So I saw that earlier, and I'm like, why are we talking about baseball?
He's got to do it longer.
What's that, Keith?
Got to do it longer to get in the Hall of Fame, though. I can't.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but he's breaking records.
Listen, I agree with you,
Sonia.
Sonia, one of the most exciting young players to come along in a long time. I'll tell you that about.
Hey, so was Mark Fidrich for 1 year.
Yeah,
he
a
was.
lot of guys for 1 year for sure.
Shohei Ohtani's getting swallowed up since this whole gambling thing. Like we're over him at this point.
Let me. I saw a comment Chris Efgray put up a second ago, and I want to go back to a second. We were talking about Helton and getting in, and some guys that have gotten in the Hall of Fame. I want to give a quick shout out to Vada Pinson Jr., who was a great player with the Cincinnati Reds, teamed up with Frank Robinson on some great Cincinnati teams, lost to the Yankees in the World Series. He's been his son Vada the Third. I interviewed last Friday, and he's been on a crusade to get his dad in the Hall of Fame. And if you look at his numbers, he doesn't stand out in any one category, but he was a great all-around player. Played in an era with great outfielders and Mays and Aaron and Flood, and he kind of gets lost. And when you look at his numbers, Hall of Fame worthy numbers. So take a look at Vada Pinson, you people who have something to do with the Hall of Fame, and watch my interview with Vada the Third. It was very interesting. So
and a hard base.
That was a great interview, Keith. Congratulations.
Yes,
I did watch it.
Yes, it was. I watched it too. Borderline Hall of Famer. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the Summer League, all right? The Summer League right now, we paid all of this attention to Bronny James, and because he's son of LeBron, nobody's paying attention to Scottie Pippen Jr. Scottie Pippen Jr. Played unbelievable game that they lost in the championship. He had 29 points, had a great Summer League, great college basketball player, and we're talking about Bronny James. This is how backwards sports media is right now. I get LeBron's his father. I know he's still playing basketball. But if we want to talk about Summer League and players, he's one of the ones we should have been talking about all along. And it's a shame to me that we have to get all tangled up in all the rest of the nonsense that goes into sports. And we don't take a look at a player that may be a star in a couple of years on the Memphis Grizzlies. James, you might not think so. I'm telling you, this kid is going to be something special.
Do we have to talk about the Summer League at all? I mean, really?
Well, I wanted to bring up the coverage. It's ridiculous.
No, I get it, but
Scottie Pippen Jr. has been in the league already, man. Just last year, I mean, he's okay, man. He's not. I get not talking about Bronny James. But I don't want to talk about Scottie Pippen Jr. either. Neither one of you guys are going to.
I'd rather talk about him than Bronny James. I'm telling you, I'd rather talk about him than Bronny James any day of the week. This kid, watch him. A couple years, this kid's going to be a star. I guarantee.
Isn't he the one that went out with somebody's ex-wife?
Yeah, he went out with Michael Jordan or something.
His father's ex-wife or something.
He's the son. Yeah, he's the son of Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, and she's in the news for the wrong reason.
Okay, I knew there was something about an ex-wife in there.
It's not basketball.
He grown up fast.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the projections this year in college football. I'm just going to give you the top 5 because I don't want to go through the top 25. So this is what they have for their top 5 rankings. They have Georgia.
Yes, woo! Go Dogs!
Coming with a chip on their shoulder after last year, I guarantee you. Texas number 2, Oregon number 3, number 4 Mississippi, number 5 Ohio State. That's their top
Ole
five.
Miss. Ole Miss is up there.
Ole Miss is going to be very good this year. Very good.
They are.
Lane Kiffin is the king of the transfer portal. I'll tell you.
Oh,
Yes, he is.
He's got to get past Alabama and Georgia at some point. That's his only stumbling block. But Mississippi is going to be in the playoff this year for sure.
12 teams are going to be there. 12 teams are going to be there.
Yep.
How about what do you think about Alabama and their new head coach? They drop somewhat from the Washington. How far do you think they drop if they do drop?
They're going to drop at least in preseason polls. They're going to have to do it on the field. He's lost a lot. A lot of kids decommitted. One of their best players went to Ohio State. Name's escaping me now, the defensive back, but they had a lot of people go. He had a good spring. Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. What Kalen DeBoer did in Washington, I know it's a Pac-12 and not the SEC, but he did a tremendous turnaround with the culture and the talent and the success at Washington in just 3 years. I think he'll have a honeymoon period here. I mean, he could go 8-4 this year, and he's not going to. They will be screaming for his head. But if he goes 8-4 2 years in a row, he's going to have some problems. And the college football, the SEC is more competitive than ever. I mean, bringing Texas and Oklahoma in only makes it more competitive. I think they'll do okay. I don't think they're going to make the playoff this year, though. I think the SEC, Georgia will get there, Ole Miss will get there, and maybe even one other team, but I don't think it'd be Alabama.
Okay.
LSU, baby.
LSU,
That transfer portal was like a
LSU is over.
rotating door.
LSU is overrated. As long as Kelly's there, you guys aren't going to do anything.
I won't have
That transfer portal for Alabama was like a revolving door. Once Nick Saban bowed out, folks were flying to get out of there. And I don't even think they get ranked this year, to be honest with you. Georgia is playing Alabama. Georgia's playing Alabama for the first time in the regular season. I think like in about 10 years or something like that, 10 seasons, what have you, which they normally just meet them in the playoffs. And it's still going to be a good game because they're rivals just by, geographical wise. But
Right.
I think it's going to be a mollywhopping, actually, of Alabama. I don't even know who's playing with them this year.
Mollywop. Holy good God. I've never seen a
Definitely.
mollywop. I've never
Watch
seen
your mouth, young lady. We have young people here.
Mollywhopping.
We have young people here. We don't
Yes.
need that type of language from you.
Alabama will be very competitive. I don't think they're going to get mollywopped by anybody, but
I don't think so either. I don't think so.
I don't know what that means. So,
See what you do. You know how he's saying it.
Eat the smithereens.
okay,
So-
I don't think that'll happen either.
So we gave you the top five. I'm going to give you the bottom five rated because we got to be fair and balanced over here, right? So
Massachusetts, Connecticut. Who else?
hey, don't spoil it. But you're right.
Vanderbilt.
So anyway,
just-
worst
No.
the UMass Minutemen are number one. And believe me, I live around here. They were 1-11 last year. They are maybe the worst team in the nation. There's no doubt about it. They shouldn't even be
Colorado.
in the FBS. The next one is the South Florida Bulls. I didn't even know they had a South Florida Bulls, but that's another.
They're getting a new stadium on campus too.
Yeah.
They used to be good years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were a decent team years ago, but boy, they've suffered
They
a
used to
lot.
be- Yep.
Yeah.
The New Mexico Lobos. I lived in New Mexico for a while. The Lobos had a decent basketball program, but football is not
They're
their thing. They're
Terrible.
not their
Never good in football.
No. The Arkansas State Red Wolves.
Never heard of them.
Arkansas, I believe, coached by former Tennessee coach Butch Jones. I believe Arkansas State, and he's in a lot of trouble, by the way. There.
Is it an HBCU?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Is that an HBCU?
Not UAB.
I don't think so. Arkansas
Not
State.
University
Yeah,
of
no,
Arkansas.
And
yeah.
the
No,
other
they-
team,
You got the money though, baby.
Come on,
you
I
think-
love
There.
the fifth team is the Hawaiian Rainbow Warriors. They're
Hawaiian.
the Hawaii's Rainbow Warriors. Yes.
Oh
So
my
that's-
God.
UConn did not make the bottom five. I'm happy. That's all I know about. Which I mean, that's not a lot to say. But
There's
anyway,
2 independent teams left in college football, and it's UMass and Connecticut are the last, or I'm sorry, 3, counting Notre Dame. Sorry, I forgot about Notre Dame. But that's the last three remaining independents in college football: UConn, UMass, and Notre Dame.
Yes, yes.
Hey, I've got
So
Notre
anyway,
Dame this year, by the way. So
when we're
Notre Dame. What's
Hey,
that?
at least it's not Navy or the Gators. That's all I care about. As long as they're not out of the
listen,
top.
don't put down any military schools while I'm
No,
around.
no,
Anyway,
no,
have
no. Hey, the Navy, baby. There you go.
Have a great day, folks, and enjoy the rest of Roku. Busy all day on Roku, one of our best days. Stay with us all night. Have a great one. We'll see you soon.
Good night.
Yarg.
All right, guys. Oh, my God.
You can stop it now.
Live, Mac.
Yeah.